Off we go.
May I introduce you to Mr. Gonzalez?
Okay, man, I'll see you out there. On the cut? Okay.
Johnny Gonzalez, who is headed up this road, going to check in on his 300 workers. All of whom right now are on a lunch break. Or maybe it's dinner, midday snack, tea time, hold the tea. It doesn't matter, you just eat. It's what you do if you're a brush-clearing goat.
Here they come.
And a herd of goats like this will devour tons of brush because, well, they eat and then rest. And then eat some more, about 9 times a day, Johnny says.
And at night, if it so suits them, they'll get up in the middle of the night and they'll chow down for another 2 or 3 hours.
Maybe you've seen them on the job, staying 2 or 3 weeks, sometimes longer, unbothered, munching away at overgrown vegetation right in the city, in urban canyons, often within sight and sound of the freeway.
They're not country goats, they're not meant to be in Switzerland, and they're not going to be in Colorado. They're right here in your neighborhood. They're in La Mesa, they're in El Cajon. We could be in Carlsbad. We were just in Chula Vista.
He actually has a few herds at work here and there around Southern California, and when city people see these goats scattered across the hillside as 'twere a pastureland scene, it's hard not to find it pretty charming. Well, Johnny understands that, he really does. It's just that for him, there are a lot of other things going on. His goats are contracted by government agencies, municipalities, private and corporate landowners to eat flash fuels along the ground that burn quickly when there's a fire, and what are called ladder fuels that spread the fire to taller brush, even as they leave behind just enough natural vegetation to catch blowing embers. The goats are really good at it, he says, and they do it all year long. Moving from one project to the next, there's no home base for these goats.
They're born and raised in these paddocks, so the mothers have the kids in the pen. So these does are having their families in this environment, so they just become very, very accustomed to the comings and goings of the day.
Like traffic, doesn't seem to bother them a bit. Spot and Cream Puff, Dottie and Grim and all the rest can work right next to a busy freeway and stay focused on the menu. And yes, by the way, they do have names, a lot of them.
The children name them, and when they name a goat, you better doggone well know the name of the goat.
They're never alone. At this site in Fletcher Hills, there are 2 goat herders come out from the Imperial Valley. Blade Dominguez and Caleb Hobelman make camp and stay with the goats, whatever the weather, day and night.
You're working hard, but you're also working at what you love.
And they get to name some of the goats, too.
Well, there's Pablo, he's somewhere around here, and then there's Raphael, Michelangelo, Leonardo. I'm a big fan of Renaissance.
And a couple of dogs who watch out for the herd. They preferred not to be identified, but, well, if at night, say, a coyote or a predator comes sniffing around.
The goats bleat in a certain way, the dogs know exactly what that means, and so do we.
On the one hand, there's a very practical side to all of this, everything planned out months in advance with fire prevention specialists. Johnny talks about biodiversity, carbon sequestration, climate change, how as goats digest the brush, it kills off invasive seeds.
You don't have bacteria transfers, you don't have nitrogen blooms, it's clean for the water, all these different things that a scientist could tell you.
And then there's just the sight of the goats. A rural touch along the hurried freeway, a glimpse of nature on suburban land, which hasn't seen such a thing in probably 140 years, if ever. For him, for the herders, it's a life's work.
You have to commit to this. This job does not go away. They don't get parked in the garage. They don't go home for Easter. Christmas is here with the goats.
And here with them on this day, as twilight turns to evening, are Johnny's team, the goat herders and the herd dogs. For all the environmental land management and fire fuels mitigation going on here, at the end of the day especially, it's hard not to find a little wistful charm in this scene. And if fire should try to pay a visit to this hillside only to find the goats got here first, well then I guess they deserve to be taken to lunch. For what could be a better ending to this story about San Diego? Hello from the front porch. If you like that video, click on the subscribe button. That way you'll know when there are more videos just like that one to see.